Hello, ranchers, dippers, and dunkers alike. You're listening to Spill the Ranch, and I'm your host, Noelle Cheney. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. I am so happy to be back with you guys in my regular old setup on this fine, very saucy Wednesday. I had the most wonderful Labor Day weekend, which I'm going to recap, but I spent some time outside. The weather was absolutely freaking sickening, like in the best way possible. The weather was like in the 70s and the 80s every day. It wasn't humid, which is like for Kansas City, it's very humid here in the summers. And like it was sunny every day. It was just the perfect ending to a wonderful summer. So I spent a lot of time outside. I went to a couple different pools with friends. We went out. We had a fabulous time. It was amazing. I have a great episode today. I'm so excited. We will be talking about friendships and just all of the ins and outs and struggles that we face as high schoolers, college students, young adults, as we navigate life and friendships. I, for one, have been through it all. I mean, I'm in my late 20s, so I've been through middle school, high school, college, young adult life. And, you know, I've had a lot of different types of friendships, and there's, of course, ups and downs to certain friendships. And I've learned a lot about myself through some of those. And some listeners have also submitted their own questions and their own stories and about friendships and such. And so we will be discussing those as well. So I'm very excited about that we have submissions today. As always, before we get started, you'll be listening, I'll be talking. Before we get started, please don't forget to give, wow, I cannot talk today. Don't forget to give the podcast a review on Spotify. If you are listening on Spotify, I appreciate each and every review and each and every listen, and I just love you guys so much. So please help me out by giving it a wonderful review. Also make sure that you are following both of my Instagrams, the Spill the Ranch Instagram, as well as my personal Instagram. That way you will not miss anything about my personal life or anything relating to the podcast. All right, I guess let's get started. I don't know why. I'm feeling very off today. I'm feeling a little sick. I think I'm losing my voice, but let's get started. Okay, you guys know I love to recap my weekends with you all. So let's do that first. So I'm going to start with Thursday night. And I'm wearing a cute little KU baby tee. But we went to the very first home KU football game. If you don't know what KU is, it's the University of Kansas, and it is where I went to school. And so did my fiance, Zach. And so this is our second year having season tickets for football. We did it last year, and it was such a blast. We just love going to their football games, especially because last year they kind of broke out and were finally good again. But like when we were in college, they would go multiple years without having one win. And so last year we went 8-4, which was really fun. And so we went to the first home game on Thursday night, and I hear my fiance coming. Please don't bug me. I really don't want him to come in the room and interrupt me while I am doing this. Yes. Okay, he's going back downstairs. He is actually right now doing a NFL fantasy draft. It's like his second one of the season. So anyways, so we went to the KU football game Thursday night, and it was so much fun. Something unique about KU football this year is that they're not playing at home on campus because their stadium is being redone. They've torn down half of it. And hopefully it will be done next year, although I don't think it's going to get done. Word on the street is that there is some underfunding issues. So we'll see if it gets done next year. But so where are they playing this year? Well, all of their home games are in Kansas City. Their first 2 home games are at Children's Mercy Park, which is where Sporting KC, the professional soccer men's team, plays here in Kansas City. And then the last 4 home games will be at Arrowhead Stadium, which is where the Chiefs play, of course. So we will be going to, I think, 4 out of those 6 games. Because we wanted to go to all of them, but like we're traveling a lot this year and such. So anyways, so excited for the Arrowhead games, but the game on Thursday was so fun because our soccer stadium is a bit smaller. It only seats around 20,000, maybe a little less, but the place was full. And so it was really, really fun. It's a really nice stadium. It's fairly new. And the only thing was it was so hot outside. Like I was sweating the entire time. I had to like put my hair up in this like ugly bun because like if it was touching my neck, I was just going to be sweating the whole time. But it was so hot. It was like 95 degrees outside. Plus it had just rained. So it was really, really humid and it was really sunny. So it was really just the most uncomfortable I've ever been at a sporting event. Like more uncomfortable than when you're really, really cold in the middle of the winter at a football game. Like it was really, really not fun. But rock chalk, we won 48-3. It was a great game. Zach and I and some of our other friends who have season tickets with us just like had a great time. And one thing I want to say, I've been really put on to this new drink recently. I don't always talk about like alcoholic drinks on here, but I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Mom Water. This is not sponsored, but like I've been drinking these, like it's my, instead of a seltzer, like this is what I reach for now. And it's like the same amount of like percentage of alcohol. So it's 4.5%, just like a seltzer or like a beer. And except it's not carbonated and it literally just tastes like flavored water. Like it's so good. And I like to think that I'm getting hydrated while I'm drinking it, but probably not. But they just taste really good. And if you're someone who like carbonation kind of like bugs you, this might be a really good alternative because it is not carbonated at all. Literally tastes like flavored water. Like I said, it is really, really good. And I was drinking those at the game. At the tailgate, because inside of the game, I don't think they sell them at the stadium, but that was really, really fun. Just like so fun that it's football season again. Like I cannot wait for this Thursday because the Chiefs are playing. So I'm really excited for that. And then the Packers, my team, I grew up, if you've been listening to me, you know that I grew up as a Packer fan, even though I'm from Minnesota, but my parents are from Wisconsin. So like huge Packer family. And then ever since like going to college and like being here in Kansas, I've also hopped on the train with the Chiefs and like they're just such a fun team. And I love that I have like 2 teams to be able to watch and cheer for. But yeah, I'm really excited for the Chiefs to play Thursday night. Unfortunately, I am not going to that game. Chiefs games are so expensive. Like last year, Zach and I really wanted to go, but they were so expensive and we were like, we just couldn't justify it. And so this year we'll try and go to one. But we just have to find the right one to go to. Anyways, moving on. Friday, I didn't do anything Friday night. I came home after work. I was so tired. And sometimes Friday nights are just the perfect night to hang out on your couch, take a nap, maybe go for a little walk if it's nice outside, which it was. And that's exactly what I did. I got home, I took a nap on the couch, I went for a walk, and then I watched my show. Like it was just the best. Like, and I love those types of Friday nights where you don't do anything. You wake up on Saturday, you feel great. Speaking of, on Saturday for me, I like woke up, I felt great. It was beautiful outside. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a run. Went for a run. It was amazing. Then went to the pool with my girlfriends. It was amazing. Perfect weather. Then that night we went out to dinner with some of our friends and then we went out in downtown Kansas City. It was like the perfect Saturday ever. So much fun. And then Sunday was kind of my errand, like chore day. Like I did a lot of laundry. I did a little bit of grocery shopping. And then Monday, I just enjoyed my day, went to the pool again, one of my friends' pools, and like I was able to enjoy the day on Monday because I got like all my laundry and everything else done on Sunday. And speaking of, every weekend should be a 3-day weekend, because what I just explained was literally the perfect weekend, right? You get one day for fun, one day to rest / get all of your errands and chores done, and then one day to actually relax and reset. It's the perfect formula, and I really think that we as a society in America need to adopt it for the sake of our mental health, and for a perfect work-life balance. Like, it's just the perfect formula. Like, 3 days is really needed. 2 days is not enough. Like, and I know people are going to think, oh, you're just complaining. Like, you just want another day off. But seriously, like, especially if I was in a job that I didn't get time off like I do in teaching, I would seriously need a 3-day weekend every weekend, because like, we can't just spend however much percentage 5 out of 7 is. I don't know what the percent of that is, but that is too much time working. That's all I'll say. So every weekend should be a 3-day weekend. We have another exciting weekend. Actually, the next 2 weekends are going to be fun. We have another exciting weekend ahead. You will find out why next week. It's going to be a short week for me because we have Monday off, and then Tuesday there's also no school. I have to go in for work, but there's no school. It's like a professional development day. And then we have school Wednesday. And then we have school Thursday, Friday. But on Thursday, I have the opportunity this year to go to a once a month leadership cadre that my principal suggested me to do. Like, he recommended me for it. And I guess it's just like, it's the first Thursday of every month. It's like not where I teach, obviously. It's like through this like professional development school, virtual, whatever. So I go somewhere else to a different campus once a month, and I'm really excited for it. So I won't be at school that day. And then we just have Friday and then the weekend. And then next week, I have a 4-day week because I'm going out of town the following weekend. Zach and I are going home to see my family. So yeah, just some exciting stuff going on. I'm so excited for the leadership cadre. I'm really grateful that like my principal identified me to like be a part of it. And I'm really excited to just learn some new leadership skills and see what it's all about. So that's what's coming up with my week. So let's talk about friendships now. So I want to start by saying how lucky I am to have the friends that I do. It hasn't always been like this way, but when I went to college, I felt like I really found my people that I really align with. And I feel like they're the people that are meant to stick with me through life. Like, I really feel like I've found that. And even since college, I feel like I've even found that in some more people who I've met since. And so I feel really, really grateful for the people who I have in my life right now. I had good friends in high school, but of course, there were certainly many times that I felt left out and I felt like nobody liked me. And I'll get more into that when we get to the stories. But I was lucky enough to have 2 really, really great friends. From the time we were toddlers, we've known each other. So I've known them for, 25 years. And they are like my sisters. Unfortunately, none of us live in the same city, so we really don't see each other a whole lot. One is in Minnesota, one is out east for her job, and then I'm in Kansas City. So none of us are close to each other, which really stinks. But like, when we do see each other, we are just able to, it's the kind of friendship where we can pick up where we left off. And I mean, I've known since I was like a teenager, that like they will be with me forever. Like, we are sisters, and like that's just how I feel. And they would say the same thing too. And so I was so lucky to have them growing up. We actually were neighbors. That's how we all met. But eventually, like, first my family, we moved like 15 minutes away, and then my other friend, her family moved close to where my parents now live. But like our parents' houses are still all within like 15 minutes of each other. And I was just feel like so lucky that I had that kind of friendship with me through high school. We also like, we weren't really like school friends. We were just like friends because like we knew each other before we ever even started school. So we all had we had our own friends from school, but then like we just have like this special friendship. Like I guess that's how I would put it. It's a very special kind of friendship. And I don't know, they're the people who will be with me forever, whether we like it or not. And like, they're the ones who aren't afraid to tell me things that I don't want to hear. And they've always been that way. And that is a kind of friend that you do need. Like, they were always there for me when, you know, when my friends, I had another group of friends, and like when things with that group maybe weren't working out very well, like they were just always there for me, my two friends. And so I love them so much. If they're listening, I love you. But yeah, so that's just a little bit about like my friendships. So that was like high school. And then when I got to college, I met a lot of amazing, wonderful women who I'm still friends with through my sorority. And I was so grateful for that. And I met a couple others, not from my sorority, from living in the dorm, who I'm still friends with. Like, love them so much. And so let's just get into the stories. I have 4 submissions today, and I feel like they're all really unique, and they have unique themes and different topics for us to talk about. So let's get into the stories from the Spill the Ranch listeners. So I just posted on my Instagram, like, email me, DM me, stories you have or advice you want to hear from me. So without further ado, here are the stories. Let me just get this. My high school friendships were strong, but took an unexpected turn following graduation. We suddenly grew apart and haven't spoken in years. I have been contemplating if I should message them on Facebook. Who knows? I'm also a massive Chiefs fan, by the way. So, shout out to the Chiefs. Love that you're a Chiefs fan. I feel like a lot of people are Chiefs fans. Like, the Chiefs are kind of like the new Patriots in a way. Like, everybody all over the country is obsessed with them right now, especially Travis and Taylor and like the Mahomes. They're all just very like popular, and I love that. Like, I love that people are seeing that Kansas City is a great spot, because like we've been new over here. Okay. Like, we've known. But as for your story, and I can kind of share this perspective because there's definitely friends that I had in high school who I don't really talk to so much anymore. And there's nothing wrong with growing out of friendships. Like, not all friendships are meant to stand the test of time, and that's okay. I'm sure these friends that you had wonderful memories with, and, you know, you maybe miss them. And I don't know what your situation is now. Like, I don't know how much later it is. Is it a year since graduation? Is it 10 years since graduation? Because I think that would be important context for me to, you know, give advice in this. But whether or not, no matter how long it's been, it's okay to recognize that we grow out of friendships. And I think you really need to, if you are thinking about reaching back out, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think maybe you need to really think about why you're reaching back out. Is it because you are now moving back to where you're from, and you want to rekindle a friendship? Or is it just because you want what you had when you were in high school? Because if that's it, I don't know if you're going to get that same friendship again, especially if it didn't end well. because people change, people grow and evolve as they get older, and it's very possible that you and your high school friends may be great friends now that you're older and wiser and maybe you've matured. But there's also a chance that maybe there's a reason why that friendship fizzled out in the first place. And it's okay if it did. But I think you really have to think, like, why is it that I want to reach back out again? What is causing that, that feeling for you? Because I think once you figure that out, then that might give you an answer as to whether or not you should message them back again. There are people who I was friends with in high school who, I hadn't talked to in like years. And it was 3 of us. It was myself and then 2 of my friends who live in Minnesota. And I was home for a week or something over the summer. And I don't remember like who reached out first. Maybe it was me. I'm not sure. But like we ended up getting lunch together, dinner together, whatever, the 3 of us. And like, it was great. We had an amazing time. Like it was so fun to spend time with them again. It was almost like, living in a time capsule. And it's very possible that if I lived in Minneapolis, maybe we would still be friends and maybe I would see them regularly, but there's also a chance that we wouldn't. Sometimes it's fun to, of course, reminisce with your high school friends on your lives back then, and it's fun to catch up. But that doesn't always necessarily mean you're meant to be friends forever. Like that you're meant to be best friends forever, I guess I should say. There's always people, those are always those people, like the friends that I was friends with, I will always be cheering for them from afar. I mean, we don't even live in the same city, so it would be hard to, I don't ever see them. And so I think you'd have to think to yourself, why is it that I want to reach back out? And I think that will answer your question for you. And thank you for the submission. Go Chiefs. And let's move on to the next story. This one's a bit longer. So this story was really long, so I actually skipped the first few sentences, but what you do need to know is that this person who submitted the story moved from the United States, didn't say where, and it takes place during their freshman year, I believe, of high school, I'm guessing. So tension began to really build after she threw a big fit on my birthday for no reason other than because she wanted the attention that was on me. My childhood best friend's mom had died, and she was like an aunt to me, and so I went to her funeral, which meant that I had to miss 2 days of school. While at the funeral, I was spammed calls and texts telling me I was a horrible person because my friend group hadn't decorated our other friend's locker for her birthday. And we'll call her Jenny. Told everyone I was behind it and had told everyone else not to do anything for our friend, even though I was going to be out of town. I stopped being friends with her that day, and when I came back to school the following week, everyone sided with her, and she told everyone all of the secrets I had told her throughout our 2-year friendship. Everyone I liked, who we talked bad about together, my past traumas. We hadn't even formally stopped being friends, and it felt like a stab in the back to have your best friend tell everything and also lie and spread rumors about me, especially because I was dealing with the loss of my best friend's mom. I am now going into our junior year and have a group of new friends, but I don't know how to deal with half of the school hating me. I already had bad anxiety, but this experience has made it even more difficult to open up new friendships. I feel like everyone will break my trust the way she has, and I'm unable to be vulnerable of getting into any romantic relationships. Any advice on how to learn to trust those around me again? So I want to start by saying it's totally valid for you to feel what you're feeling, especially with the trust issues, not being able to trust anyone in friendships or in romantic relationships. And I think that now that you have lived this experience, it is natural for your guards to be up. And I do think, though, because naturally your guards will kind of be up, at least for a while, that will naturally allow your intuition to do what it's meant to do. And I think it will really, like, your gut is going to tell you if you can trust new friends. And I know that might not be something that you want to hear, but I think going with your gut is going to really help you moving forward, because it's really easy to not want to trust people after this experience. I mean, it sounds like whoever this friend was had a lot of jealousy towards you, and maybe I'm assuming it's a girl. It was Jenny. Yeah. So I think she wanted attention and she wanted to be the ringleader. And it sounds like maybe you were naturally that you didn't try to be that, but maybe you just naturally were. And it sounds like she was really jealous of that. And first of all, that's not a friend. If someone is constantly jealous of you and wanting the things that you have and, making up lies about you and making up things that didn't happen, like, that's not your friend. And I'm so sorry that you had to deal with someone like that, especially someone just doing such immature things, especially after you were dealing with grief and grieving your childhood best friend's mother. I mean, I can only imagine how difficult that would be. And so the fact that she chose to try to bring you down while you were already down, it's just like kicking you while you were down. Like, that is someone who you don't want to be friends with someone like that ever again. And it sounds like you've cut ties with her, which I definitely think is the right move. And it sounds like you're a really trustworthy person. And I do think that is a great trait to have. And I don't want you to lose that completely, because it's a wonderful quality about you. But I do think that naturally, now that you've lived through this experience, your gut is going to be on high alert. Like, your ears are going to be perking up whenever you see red flags or signs that something like this might be happening again. And I think your gut's going to tell you. Like, I think now that you've lived this and you maybe will be able to see the signs a little bit better. And also just remember that, like, now that you're going to be a junior in high school, I'm sure you and the people around you have all matured quite a bit since freshman year. So I think maturity is also on your side, especially because girls mature a lot quicker than boys. Now, I will say girls can be so mean. Like, they can be mean. They can be catty, and it's horrible, especially during adolescence, like when you're in high school. Girls can be so mean, and all I have to say is I really hope that you've been able to find a new good group of friends. And I would say just really make sure that you guys align in your values, in your interests. Do the girls that you're hanging around now make you feel good? Can you be yourself around them? Do you have similar interests? Do you like to do the same things? Because if all of those are a yes, then I think these girls are probably just a better fit for you. And especially in middle school and high school, sometimes you have to go through some bad friendships to get to the good ones. And it's just important to learn from each friendship and learn the signs of if something might be starting to go south. And I think your gut's going to tell you that. And I really think that your gut's going to help you. You're going to be able to recognize the red flags. So I just wish you the best with your junior year. And I have a feeling you're going to have a great year. And thank you for submitting your story and being vulnerable and, sharing that with us. So that was amazing. Thank you. And let me know if you ever want to follow up. Go ahead and email me. I would love to hear how things are going. Let's move on to the third story. I feel like, one second. Okay. I feel like every time I want to do something with any of my friends, I'm always the one reaching out first. If I didn't reach out to them, they wouldn't think to reach out to me. They also always seem to make themselves unavailable. What do I do? I want to start by saying I have 100% been in your shoes. There were so many times, especially in high school, because I had a little bit of a smaller group of friends. Like when I was in high school, I would not have considered myself like part of the popular crowd or anything like that. But I did have like one core group, but each person in the core group also had other friend groups. And I also had a lot of like standalone friends. Like I had some friends in choir, I had some friends in track, some friends in cross country, and then I had like my core group. But it was a smaller group. There's maybe like 8 of us, and everybody kind of also had other groups. And so there would be a lot of times, a lot of weekends where like everybody was doing things with their other groups of friends. And I oftentimes like wasn't invited to those. Sometimes I was, but a lot of times wasn't. And I took it really, really personally. And looking back, I still like feel like I had a great high school experience. There were definitely some bumps in the road, but overall, I still feel like I had a good high school experience. But I would be lying if I said there weren't times where I felt really lonely or I felt like nobody wanted to be friends with me. And I want you to really think about this. You have to decide, is it really that they're not reaching out to you like purposefully? Or does it just like feel that way? Because I know for me, it felt like they were purposely excluding me. But when I look back, it was really just that they had other friends. And what I've learned since college and high school is that you don't have to do every single thing with your friends. Like some friends like to separate and do things in smaller groups. And it's okay when the whole group of friends doesn't always do everything together. And I've learned that, if I'm not invited to something even now, to not take it personally, because it's not like I was being purposefully excluded. It's just like, I'm just not there. Like it's not a big deal. If they are purposefully excluding you, which I'm not saying they're not, they very well could be, and that's awful. But if they are doing that, then they're not your friends. And I think this would be a great opportunity for you to start seeking out other friendships of people who want to spend time with you and that you want to spend time with. If you are involved in clubs, sports, activities through school or outside of school, I invite you to really try to, look into those spaces to find some people who might align with your interests and your values and, would want to spend time with you. Like see if is there anybody that you connect with in choir, or at basketball. And if there is, then maybe just ask them, hey, like, do you want to go get ice cream on Friday night? Like, hey, do you want to go to the football game with me? Like we could sit together. And so I would really invite you to try doing that, especially now that it's a brand new school year. There's a lot of opportunities to maybe meet some new friends. And when you do find those friends who actually want to hang out with you, like it's the best feeling in the world. And I know that it's the absolute worst feeling in the world to feel excluded. I've been there so many times. It is an awful feeling. And sometimes I still feel that way, like every now and then. And I have to remind myself that it's not personal. When I was in high school, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I think really remembering, first of all, that just if you're not invited to everything, it's not always personal. Okay. And I also get your point about how you're always the one reaching out first. And so that is maybe what is telling me that this could be a one-way friendship. And that happens sometimes. But you also have to remember sometimes people, especially when you're in high school, can be really bad about reaching out. And sometimes maybe they want to hang out, but they're just like really bad at texting, or they're really bad at communicating. And you could always have a conversation with them if you are close enough with them, like about communication. But I would maybe wait to get to that until you're sure if like that's the problem. But I mean, I have to say, it's not always the worst thing to be the one reaching out. Sometimes people are just really bad at that. However, if it's happening a lot and they seem to be excluding you, I would really start looking for some new friendships. And I think that you would feel a lot better if you could find some more people who want to spend time with you. Like you don't want to hang out with people who don't want to be around you anyway. Like, you're amazing. You deserve people who want to be with you or want to hang out with you because they like you. Like, would you feel better if you got a pity invite? Probably not. So I would say use the beginning of the school year to your advantage. Maybe join a new club, try and meet some new people and see how it goes. And I would love to hear an update if you have one for me down the line. Thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate you being vulnerable with us. So we are on to our very last story. And this is actually one that I can connect with, or I used to be able to connect with, and not so much anymore. So let's get into it. The disconnect you feel when you're the only single girl in your friends group and all of your friends are in relationships or married or have kids, and you just feel like you can't fit in. So I need to get my lips are dry. So I have been in this position before. I was single up until I was 24. However, I have not been in this position in 3 years. And so I can kind of share both perspectives. So I want to start with when I was single. I have definitely been there before. I had several friends who have had boyfriends since college. And so sometimes they would go on dates with their boyfriends very often, or, have certain nights of the week where they had to be with their boyfriends, or, they'd go on double, triple dates. And I would feel so left out. And I just remember thinking like, this sucks. Like, if I had a boyfriend, I could be hanging out with them right now. I could be going bowling with them. I could be, going on a trip with them. And it's like, I wasn't angry with my friends for doing things without me, because I knew that like I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. So like, I'm not going to be invited on their double date as like a fifth or seventh wheel, but I just felt so disconnected, like you said. And I think now, especially from the perspective of now that I've been with my fiance for 3 years, and like, I can kind of see the other side. I have friends who are single, and I think it's so important to continue to do girls' nights with just your groups of friends. Like, if your friend group is all girls, or if you have guys in it, whatever. But to just continue to have those nights without the spouses, without the boyfriends, so that you can all hang out with each other still, and just enjoy being around each other. Oh my God, I just had something I wanted to talk about, but it left my brain before I could save it, before I could press save. It's also because when you do those nights with your friends, I just feel like it's so much more fun for everybody sometimes to be without the significant others. And like, that way you're still allowing your friends who are single to like be themselves, and for us just to all enjoy each other's company. I also think it's really fun, like when I go out with my friends who are single, like I'll help them, I'll wing woman for them if they need me to, and I always think that's fun. But just as far as like feeling like you're in a different place, there's really nothing wrong with that. I know it feels like you're really disconnected at the moment. There will be a time when maybe eventually you will be in a relationship. And then, things will be different, but everybody moves at different paces and everybody might be in different places, and that's okay. And I'm sure you didn't say anything about what kinds of friends these are, but I'm assuming these are good friends of yours and you're just feeling disconnected. Maybe you're feeling like you can't relate to them with things. I could definitely see that happening, especially with the friends who have kids. If I had a friend who all of a sudden was like a parent, I could see how that could be something like hard to relate to, especially if you have multiple friends that have kids and maybe they're all hanging out just with each other. And when it comes to that, like, I'm sure they'll still invite you to stuff, but yeah, their priorities have changed. And I just want you to know that it's nothing personal. Everything you are feeling is valid. And I guess I'm struggling to articulate like really any advice here, because it doesn't really sound like you were asking for advice on anything. But your feeling of disconnection is really, really valid. And I just hope that your friends who are in relationships are continuing to put the work in to see the friends who are single, because I know that that's really important to me and my friends. And it's definitely something that has helped our friendships continue to blossom. And so I just hope that your friends are putting in the work for that and that you are, being receptive of that. So hang in there. I'm sure you are having like your life, you're at a point in your life where it's just so different, but that's not a bad thing. Like, you're probably going on dates, having a lot of fun. You don't have anybody to worry about except yourself, which is such like a freeing feeling. And I think you should just enjoy it and enjoy this chapter in your life. And just try to continue those friendships if they are worth, hanging on to. And I'm sure they are. So that is all of our submissions for today. Those are all of the stories that I wanted to share. I absolutely love talking about this topic, and I would happily make an entire other episode about friendships. So if you have more stories, submissions, questions, please submit them. You can direct message me. You can email me. And I would be happy to talk more about this topic. I am so excited to have a fabulous rest of the week. I hope you guys are too. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to give the podcast a review on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, I really appreciate it. And make sure to follow Spill the Ranch on Instagram and Noelle Loves Thoughts on Instagram so that you don't miss anything. And thanks for spending this saucy Wednesday with me. I'm just having such a great time being with you guys today. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a very saucy rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye.